Girl 9 shot in the head in botched assassination of Turkish gangster. Yvonne Riley played key role in drive-by shooting in East London. Court hears. You know, I was less concerned about people getting shot in the head when the same people were hypocritical left-wing activists like Sasha Johnson. Remember that one? This bird spent 10 years gobbing off about the ignominities that white men had forced upon her people and then promptly headbutted a 9mm round that one of her people fired through a party window, leaving her with a head like a 50p piece, and yet another one of her people looking at a long stretching porky. But when it's happening to 9-year-old girls, I get a little bit annoyed, especially when, as usual, every person involved in this in the English capital is called Mustafa, Keenan, Nasser and Javon. It's a little bit annoying. Reminds me that, as I alluded to yesterday, we were living in the halcyon days of yore, weren't we, when Fred West was plying his trade. Now we've just got total lawlessness. But you know what? I'm not even going to concentrate on this story, because the breaking news today is that the reason the streets are lawless is because the police are busy doing other things. Yeah, like arresting pensioners for tweeting, banging on your door for being impolite on social media to an out communist, and breaking news today, turns out they're also busy ferrying left-wing protesters to crime hotspots where illegal dinghy divers diddle your kids and you get upset about it. I'm not making it up. I mean, I doubt anybody sensible enough to watch this channel thinks I am making it up. But it's breaking news today. Farage has made a video about it and I'm going to dissect it. Okay, Farage sort of went viral this morning, got a lot of engagement with this tweet. He said, breaking news. This video proves Essex police transported left-wing protesters to the Bell Hotel in Epping. There is no way Chief Constable B.J. Harrington can stay in position. Farage is a politician, so he's got many flaws. On this, he's a little bit slow on the uptake, isn't he? Because he's defended the police a lot. Old Froggy. But he got there in the end, just like Stowelly yesterday. He got there in the end. This is a damning indictment for the bobbies. Let's watch what he has to say.
Have a look at this video.
If these are locals, why are they getting a police car? Where time's the next bus? You wait 15 minutes for a bus and then 3 come all along at once. Look, they're all cramming in.
This shows stand up to racism, as they're called, with Antifa, a violent, thuggish group, arriving at the train station and literally, by Essex police, being bussed to the Bell Hotel. These were the people that caused the disturbances. These were the people that caused the riots. Essex police caused the disturbances. What on earth were Essex police thinking? Is it that they just hate so much ordinary residents determined to stand up for their own rights? I don't know the answer to that question. What I do know is what Essex police have done here is absolutely disgraceful. One of the most extraordinary acts I've seen from the police force in my lifetime. And for bussing Antifa. Oh, and by the way, many of them masked protesters. For doing this, heads must roll. There is no way the Chief Constable or the Police and Crime Commissioner in Essex can stay in their posts. This is a disgrace.
There you go. Good stuff, that, I think, from Froggy there. He's looking a bit Colonel Mustard, though, isn't he? He's sort of yellow. He needs to get a better PR guy. Again, why am I giving this bloke tips? He should know what he's doing by now. You want a nice orange tinge, Nigel? Listen to the God Emperor. He knows what he's doing. And get your teeth whitened. All this stuff matters in our ridiculously shallow modern politics. So we've discussed Epping a lot in the last few days. And that's the icing on the cake. We knew this was happening. We saw it coming 10 miles away because the activist police force, as anybody in the online right knows, has been completely consumed. The College of Policing, the march through the institution started by Blair, continued by Cameron. They are activists. All the upper echelons of the police forces across the country are packed with left-wing activists. It took decades, but it's complete. All of them are left-wing, and they only hire left-wing activists. That's why they don't want big, burly ex-squaddies who could actually do the job capably. So we knew this was coming. They telegraphed this years ago. Of course they're bussing protesters in. Of course they are. Because they view ordinary, centrist, patriotic people in England as extremists. That's why we had decades of people getting butchered like animals by the followers of one very particular belief system, the regulars at Alan's Marvellous Snack Bar. Why not get yourself an Alan Snack Bar shirt? Links in the description. And yet when the police do training operations, the enemy in these training operations is a bloke with a big Union Jack flag on his shirt. This is the world we're living in. The government, all the corridors of power, the police, the judiciary, the House of Lords, the House of Commons, the College of Policing, all these places are infested. No, not infested, populated entirely with people that outright hate you because you dare to disagree with Klaus Schwab and all the rest of the globalist sociopaths. You think your country should be allowed to exist and your grandkids should be allowed to grow up in something similar to what you grew up in. It's that simple. You already know all this. Emily Thornberry, when she posted that ludicrous tweet about, oh my God, I can't believe this guy's got an England flag on his house when the England match is on. She's a dame now. She's just got promoted. You post things that ignorant and hateful and anti-working class on your account in the UK and you become a dame. So this isn't conjecture. This is what's happening. Anyway, I don't want to rant about that anymore. I'm going to close out with another video because I want to do yet another defence of old Frogface. Another video that went viral this morning because it's so laugh out loud ridiculous is Zach Polanski, the unfortunately named Zach Polanski. Why would anybody with a name like Polanski try and get involved in politics? The only other famous Polanski is well known around the world for bouncing on a 12-year-old's dirt box. So I think straight off the bat, I'd just go, not voting for him. But alas, here we are. Apparently, he's made of all the right stuff for the Green Party. So let's have a quick watch of the absolute drivel this fella comes up with in order for me to make a quick comparison to end with.
I met a man recently. Said he wanted to stand on a beach like this one with a gun and shoot the people coming across on small boats. Said it like he was just talking about the weather. The worst bit, I wasn't even that shocked. Because it's this obsession that has gripped the country. For boats, for boats, for boats. Yet something doesn't add up. Our NHS is crumbling. Our wages are frozen. Our rents are obscene and our rivers are open sewers. And all those in power can do is blame the boats. Labour repeats it like it's gospel.
I won't bore you with the whole thing. Just a few things to say there. Let's look at the things he said that we were incorrectly blaming on boats, shall we? NHS is crumbling. Boats. Wages are frozen. Boats. Rents are obscene. Boats. Rivers are open sewers. Boats. Boat. Or immigrants. Let's say there's 5 million illegal immigrants or boat migrants or recent migrants who've been let to stay and shouldn't be here anyway. Let's say there's 5 million of them. Here's a difficult question for you. How much human shit do you think 5 million hairy-arsed men create in a week? How much? It'd make the pile that Jeff Goldblum pointed at in Jurassic Park look like a molehill next to a mountain. That's how much. The NHS wouldn't be crumbling if there was 5 million less people using it, would there? And don't tell me that immigrants work in the NHS. We had an NHS that worked just fine in the 70s and 80s, thanks, when every employee was from 20 miles away from the hospital. So don't give me that drivel. Also, the fella he was talking about at the start of the video, I wouldn't vote for this wonky-faced fella, but if the geezer he was talking about standing on the beach at the start wants to run for office, I'll be his campaign manager. I love that. So why am I talking about this wonky-faced mutant with his out-communist ideas that'll only exacerbate every issue we're facing? Why am I talking about him? No, not because he used to perform hypnotherapy to enlarge women's breasts and he's yet another professional scam artist who's looking at being a politician because it makes them famous rather than because he's got any aptitude for it. No, not because of that. It's because, as I keep saying, you've got to hold your hands up, face the mirror and concede that you're wrong occasionally, okay? Peter Hitchens was right when he said that things would be far worse under Starmer than any of us anticipated. He was right again. And the one thing he's always been is a ruthless pragmatist. He said, don't vote for the Tories, vote against Labour. And if that meant you occasionally had to lend your vote to the Tories, so be it. And it turns out, after the last 12 months, he was right. My plan years ago, talking about this, when we'd lost all patience with Boris Johnson, was to vote anyone but Tory, knowing that it'd hand Labour the election. But the plan was, finally, it'd allow us to get an alternative in after Labour had wrecked the nation. But it seems that that plan's going to come undone because the right, certainly the online right, and I'm hoping that's a small enough amount of people that it won't affect the election, but they cannot get their shit together. It's impossible. No Chance, who I follow on Twitter and I quite like, has spent the last week just ripping the piss out of the new UKIP leader, Nick Tencorny. Every time you get an alternative on the right, all the online right do is rip them down. It seems like a quarter of them are with Homeland and Kenny and the boys. Loads of them are with Nick Tencorny and the new UKIP. And then there's all these new parties that begin with R. And all we're going to do is split the vote. I'll revisit this in 2 years' time. But if you want to get column inches and you want to get the normies to switch on and take part in politics, you need constant saturation in the media. And the only person currently getting it is Farage. The only bloke who looks like he can win the general election and might even attempt to undo all of the appalling shite that Labour's crammed down our necks is Farage. The manifesto looks fine. He's more of a Thatcherite, a liberal, than a conservative, but he's the best we're going to get. So I'm going to keep advocating for him, at least until we're 12 months away from another election, if Starmlin lets us have one. And I'd suggest you do too. And even if you don't want to get behind him, I would suggest not spending your entire time online posting shit about other people on the right. These right-wing purity spirals do nothing. I'd suggest taking a leaf out of my book and spending your time more productively, which is ripping the piss out of everyone on the left, instead of just tearing down all the centrist, centre-right and right-wing alternatives. Go and pick on a communist instead. Trust me, it's a more worthwhile use of your time. But that's just my opinions. You're free to disagree in the comments. I'm sure plenty of you will. Old Froggy's not popular with some of you lot, I know it, but I don't care. We'll revisit this in 2028 if we've still got a country to talk about. That's just me for the day anyway. Let me know what you think in the comments. As usual, thanks for liking and sharing and all of that bollocks. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.